U.S. and Philippines intercept a Chinese aircraft carrier near Taiwan. Welcome to U.S. Military Channel, your source for in-depth analysis of global events. Today, we bring you a story that could alter the course of international relations. Join us as we uncover the dramatic interception of a Chinese aircraft carrier near Taiwan by the United States and the Philippines. The South China Sea has been a hotbed of tension due to territorial disputes, with Taiwan asserting its independence while China claims sovereignty. The United States has long been a supporter of Taiwan, and the Philippines find themselves in a delicate position. On date, tensions reached a boiling point. The United States, a staunch ally of Taiwan, saw this interception as a necessary response to protect regional stability. American officials cited concerns about the carrier's presence near Taiwan, suggesting it posed a potential threat to the island nation's security. For the Philippines, a nation with strategic interests in maintaining good relations with both China and the U.S., this move was a diplomatic tightrope. Filipino officials walked a delicate line, emphasizing their commitment to regional peace while acknowledging their long-standing alliance with the United States. China swiftly condemned the interception, labeling it a provocative act. Chinese officials argued that the carrier was conducting routine operations and posed no threat to Taiwan. The incident triggered a war of words between Washington and Beijing. This incident has far-reaching implications for geopolitics. It underscores the fragile nature of relations in the South China Sea, where multiple nations lay territorial claims. The world watches closely as diplomatic channels are tested, and naval forces patrol these contested waters. The South China Sea, a maritime region known for its rich resources and strategic importance. Today, we dive deep into a recent incident that saw the U.S. and Philippines intercepting a Chinese aircraft carrier near Taiwan. Tensions have been brewing in the South China Sea for decades, but recent events have escalated concerns among global superpowers. Last week, intelligence reports surfaced of a Chinese aircraft carrier, the CNS Liaoning, making its way towards the Taiwan Strait. As a response, the United States and the Philippines, both having strategic interests in the region, coordinated a joint naval exercise to intercept and monitor the carrier's activities. Communication between the two allied nations was swift, demonstrating the importance of their partnership in maintaining regional stability. Both Beijing and Taipei issued statements, each presenting their perspective on the incident. Beijing insisted on its right to navigate international waters, while Taipei expressed concerns about the carrier's proximity. As the world watched, people from all corners voiced their opinions, many emphasizing the need for peaceful dialogues and negotiations. Many hope that diplomacy will prevail, with nations coming together to ensure that the South China Sea remains a region of peace, cooperation, and shared prosperity.
With tensions potentially higher than they have been in years, and Chinese weapons, planes, and warships conducting war drills encircling Taiwan, the possibility of a massive Chinese-US confrontation may now look more realistic. Several Pentagon reports and think tank studies have in recent months raised the question of whether Taiwan could easily be taken over by China, creating a fait accompli circumstance wherein any effort to remove occupying Chinese forces by force could introduce potentially unprecedented and catastrophic consequences. Much of this simply seems to pertain to a simple, self-evident question: could US, Japanese, South Korean, and Australian forces get there fast enough? Could there be an effective, coordinated, multi-domain response within the crucial and likely quite small time window afforded during a Chinese attack? How quickly would a Chinese attack be detected? How far away are response forces? Could Chinese air power and carriers in the Taiwan Strait, in striking distance of Japan, successfully defend a possible Taiwan occupation from US and Japanese defense counterattacks? Certainly a question including a number of variables. Chinese carriers and amphibs could be successful in any amphibious assault to take over Taiwan, if US and Japanese forces couldn't get there in time or simply weren't close enough to intervene in an impactful way. This is particularly true when it comes to air power, meaning should the US and its allies have sufficient number of F-35s in position to respond, a Chinese amphibious attack would likely have a lot of trouble succeeding. However, should Japanese, South Korean, and US forces have sufficient indications of an imminent invasion or obtain crucial intelligence information, US Navy and Japanese assets could be in close enough proximity to challenge or stop a Chinese takeover of Taiwan. This is likely a key reason why US Pacific Command operates a large number of ships and assets in the region and regularly conducts forward operations such as training, combat preparation drills, or carrier aircraft launch operations. Forward presence could be the deciding factor in any kind of scenario involving attack. First, attacking Chinese forces would likely have a very difficult time establishing air superiority in support of an amphibious assault should US carrier-launched F-35Cs and amphib-launched F-35Bs be within range of attack. Chinese J-15s, or even some of its small number of J-20s, would likely have trouble. Without clear air superiority, an amphibious force would be extremely vulnerable to attack from US or Japanese fifth-generation aircrafts such as F-35s. Another key variable likely to make a Chinese move on Taiwan more difficult is the potential presence of US submarines. Virginia-class attack submarines are increasingly engineered with advanced sonar and quieting technologies such that they can approach high-risk areas less likely to be available to more easily detected surface ships. Hidden submarines can therefore perform clandestine reconnaissance missions in high-risk coastal areas. Should they remain undetected, US Navy attack submarines could succeed in attacking, disrupting, or even destroying attacking Chinese ships traveling to Taiwan. The challenge of defending Taiwan may be why senior Pentagon leaders, from Secretary Lloyd Austin to Air Force Chief of Staff General Charles Brown, Army Chief of Staff General James McConville, and DoD's recently published China report all specifically cite China as a serious and pacing threat to the United States and its allies. Much of this is widely discussed and quite well known, as many lawmakers, senior Pentagon leaders, and weapons developers consistently reference China's hypersonic weapons progress, large, technologically sophisticated and growing navy, fifth-generation aircraft, nuclear arsenal, and 2 million strong ground force. The thinking may simply be that an extremely strong, full-scale deterrence posture might not only be necessary but the best, if not only true option, when it comes to stopping China. Cursory look at the geography, surrounding force posture, and available war assets in position to respond to Chinese invasion seems to suggest that some kind of rapid fait accompli type of immediate takeover might appear realistic. This prospect, however, presumes that US and allied forces, long-range weapons, and ship-launched assets were not able to thwart, slow down, or stop a Chinese air-sea attack quickly enough before they would land on Taiwanese shores. Should that happen, the US and its allies would of course face a much different scenario. The hope, it may seem clear, is that US intelligence and allied surveillance in the form of undersea and aerial drones, submarines, and even satellites might discover preparations for an invasion early enough to position a response. Should Allied air superiority be established quickly enough in the Chinese Air Force, in terms of sheer numbers or mass, much less dangerous to the US and its allies than its naval and ground forces, then there may indeed be hope that a major invasion could be stopped before reaching the shores. Given that Taiwan is a mere 100 miles off the Chinese coast, this may be a tall order. It may simply be a question of time. Should the answer be yes, they would of course need air and maritime superiority. An amphibious assault carrying large numbers of Chinese troops and heavy armor would, it seems clear, most likely need to be destroyed from the air to prevent a fait accompli. Should large portions of China's 2 million strong land army and 35,000 armored vehicles succeed in landing on and occupying Taiwan, what options might there be for the US and its Pacific allies? The principal impediment to a successful rapid counterattack may simply be a sheer question of geography. South Korea operates roughly 2.6 thousand tanks. Japan maintains a fleet of roughly 1,000 tanks, and Taiwan itself is listed by Global Firepower as having 1,160 tanks. However, should China land large numbers of its 3,000-strong tank force and 1,970 self-propelled howitzers, could any kind of countervailing ground response force get there in time? A quick look might suggest no. Southern Japan and South Korea are, depending upon where ships depart, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 miles away. While this would possibly put Taiwan in range of tanker-refueled or sea-launched fighter jets and some long-range missiles, a heavily armored force is extremely difficult to deploy and would need to be pre-positioned. This simple, yet clear circumstance may explain why there have been so many reports about Taiwan's acquisition of Abrams tanks.